Welcome to NTH and Hartlepool Voices, telling the stories of our people and community in our trust.
I'm Elliot Kennedy. In the studio today we have Anne, Mike and Paul. Anne, tell me a little bit about how you got involved as a volunteer within the Trust.
Lots of years ago, when I lost my husband, I started to raise money for NTH Hospital. Raised quite a lot of money, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and it kept me going. When that finished, my brother said to me, in the Daily Mail there is a piece saying you can volunteer at a hospital. And I thought, this is another reason to give back what they gave to me and my husband.
Mike, how about you?
Well, not as much as Anne. I did no fundraising, unfortunately, but I retired in 2019 and always intended to do some kind of volunteering somewhere. I talked to my wife, and again, because of family problems and the care that was given within the hospital, decided that this was where I would like to do it. I contacted the office, and I think it was Nicola I spoke to. I made an appointment to go along and chat, and don't regret it since. It's an absolutely fabulous thing to do, and as Anne says, it's nice to give something back and to help people where they need it.
So what kind of roles do volunteers fill in within the Trust?
Well, I come in and I'll set up the tea trolley, go around with cups of tea, coffee, have a chat with all the patients. Good morning boys, good morning girls, cheer them up, give them a scone, do my rounds, and then just do other little bits and go and chat to people.
And what about you, Mike? Again,
much the same. I'll come in on a morning, help with any residual of breakfast pots to clear those away and get ready to do a tea round with the ward hostess. Where I can help with anything non-medical, I'll help the other staff, the HCAs, etc., and the cleaners. I'll take laundry round to the where it needs to be deposited. I'll fill the water jugs for the patients, chat to the patients, time permitting, ask if anybody needs anything from the shop, newspapers, magazines, just generally help patients and staff wherever I can, just to be there for people.
Now, Paul, you're the volunteer organiser within the Trust. What impact do the volunteers have?
It's massive, really. From a smile at the main entrance that our welcomers offer and directions to where they need to be. So some of the more interactive interventions that Anne and Mike get involved in and around the clinical setting. Popping to the shops, as Mike said, encouraging them to eat and drink. Malnutrition and dehydration is a huge issue, and all our clinical volunteers are encouraged to help and support in that and to help people recover. So that's a little bit more intense. There's also things like just helping people along through discharge as well, helping people get home, helping them get settled back into their community. We've got a group of volunteers who do that. Supported by our volunteer drivers who bring people in for outpatient appointments. They also deliver some medication and some equipment that might be needed. And so the impact is quite big. Within the Trust, some people might know that we have a friends and family test that we ask patients to complete. And I get a report for where volunteers have been identified as being involved in a patient or a family member's journey through the Trust. And out of 10, our volunteers regularly score over 9. In the last quarter, it was 9.3. So that's the feedback we're getting from our patients, that the impact our volunteers are having is absolutely huge. And all credit to people like Anne and Mike.
Anne and Mike, without naming any patients, what's your favourite story, from the time you become volunteers with the Trust?
Well, I have lots, but I have one special young lady who was given bad news and told to put her affairs in order. And she'd just been told, the family weren't around, and she broke her heart, and I broke my heart with her. I've since stayed in touch with this young lady. She's now on the mend, and we keep in touch, and it's lovely.
And what about you, Mike?
Well, I got chatting to one particular lady, and at the time I was chatting to her, she had a visitor who was in nursing, in a nursing uniform, and chatted away, and then I went off and left her with a visitor. When I came back in the next morning, this lady told me that a visitor was a granddaughter and she'd recognised me. And it turns out I used to work with her, and different environment, different clothing. I just didn't recognise her, and it turns out she was married to my old boss. And from there I really got chatting with this lady, and she was lovely, and she enjoyed our chats, and I stayed there for sort of 15-20 minutes at a time where I could, and I've been in touch with the family since.
Now, Paul, this week's Volunteers Week. Any plans?
Oh yeah, lots. It's the 40th anniversary of National Volunteers Week, so we're trying to push the boat out a little bit, but there's a couple of things in particular. We are getting involved with the local authorities celebration, so we've got an event in Stockton Town Centre on the Tuesday that we're helping and supporting with, but the big one for us is our thank you event, which is a dinner provided by the Trust to thank all the volunteers for everything that they do throughout the previous year. Everybody's invited, including our external volunteers from Bookbase, RVS, yourselves at Radio Stitch and the League of Friends are invited. So we're looking to cater and help and support and entertain roughly around 150 to get up towards 200 volunteers. We have entertainment on. This year it's the first year of our long service awards, so the new chief exec and our chair will be in attendance along with other members of the board and supporting the volunteers and giving those badges out. So that will be an absolutely busy night, but it will be lovely. It'll be great. Really looking forward to it.
Anne and Mike, will you be coming along to the events?
I'll definitely be there. There's no show without punch, as Paul will tell you.
I will too. It was my first one last year, and it was a good event and a pleasant evening, a good way to get to know the volunteers within the volunteering service.
Anne and Mike, any words of encouragement for people who might be considering to come along and volunteering within the Trust?
I would advise anybody who's lonely, regardless of age, to come along. It'll be the best thing you've ever done. You reap what you sow, and I think that's the case in this position.
Well, I would echo that. It's a very, very rewarding thing to do. Without wanting praise from anybody, it's a wonderful feeling when the patients and the staff acknowledge what you are doing for them, and it helps to make a very, very difficult time for these patients a little bit easier. Come along, it's easy. You're not thrown in at the deep end. There's people will guide you through what you need to do. Even if it's only a couple of hours a week, it'll help people.
I suppose the most important thing is, how can people apply or get in touch with the Trust to become a volunteer?
Usual socials. I think we have Facebook, Twitter, others that I can't too many to mention. But if you're struggling with social media, onto the website, just any search engine, North Tees and Hartlepool NHSFT, that will bring you through, and just look for volunteering opportunities, and they're listed in there. Within that page there is a direct email address and contact details, phone number, address if you need it. But yeah, please, as these two guys have said, please take the step to help our community. Our patients are very vulnerable at times, and any support you can offer would be absolutely greatly appreciated.
Thank you for joining us. Till next time, you've been listening to NTH Voices.